Like if you're in a CrossFit area and you're chalked up hands, butt slaps, pretty normal.
Yeah.
But if you went up to somebody on a treadmill and did that, you get arrested.
Yeah.
So.
Welcome to the Princeton Podcast, where we talk about upcoming events, news, and local businesses. This is Princeton. Play here, stay here.
Before we get started today, just a reminder to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're also recording on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe at This is Princeton MN.
Everybody goes to Deep Portage.
Yeah, and no one gets left behind from Deep Portage.
Well, I was. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Zach Kitzman here with Kim Young. Mary is at Deep Portage. We don't know where that's at, but she's helping the 6th grade class today. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Princeton's Lions Club. Be sure to grab some raffle tickets before February 25th for lots of great cash prizes. If you guys haven't seen that, it's our last podcast, and you can see it in the link below in the description. But without further ado.
Yeah, so today's guests come to us from right down the block behind us. Their building was once the Princeton High School, then Princeton Junior High, and now Crystal Courts and Beyond Sports Princeton Fitness. So today we'd like to welcome our guests from Beyond Sports, Susan Gilson, Joseph Head, and Justin Zahner, who's off camera right now, but will join us in a little bit.
Yes.
Pleasure to be here.
Yep. Yeah, so thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited. We were talking off camera a little bit about some stories, and I think today's podcast is going to be pretty good, full of entertainment.
Yeah.
So, but I was curious to know how your guys' journey has come from location to location and how you got to where you're at now.
Well, Beyond Sport has been around for many, many years. It started out over 20 years ago as Avery's Taekwondo, and it started out as a community ed program in the schools, and then after a couple years it moved into a building near the Trinity Crossing building down the block, and they were there for a couple years. It was owned by a guy named Ryan Avery.
And was it just Taekwondo then when it first started?
It was just Taekwondo.
Okay.
My husband and I moved to Princeton about 16 years ago, something like that, and right away we got involved in Taekwondo. We both wanted to try a martial art, and so him and I got into it and loved it, and then later on our kids joined us. Usually it's the other way around. Kids join and then the parents come. Then shortly into it, Ryan asked me to help out a lot with the kids' class. I'm a physical education teacher outside of the gym, and so I helped with the kids' classes and eventually went to work for him. And we were at the Trinity Crossing location for about 2 years, and then we needed more space because we had added CrossFit, and there was just not room for both programs in that little space. So we moved to the building that's on 126th Street over behind the Finish Line and Subway, and we were there for probably about 10 years, I think.
Was it still Avery's that whole time?
At the beginning it was, and a little ways into that, Ryan, who lived in St. Cloud, he was offered a job closer to home. He was driving over to Princeton a couple times a day to teach classes, and it was a long drive for him. So he was offered a job at a gym close to home, and he ended up taking that, and he approached us and asked if we'd want to buy the business, and I was like, yes. It was always our retirement plan when Glenn retired from active duty military. Glenn's my husband, and we were going to open a gym, but it just came sooner than later. Glenn was still active duty Army at the time and deployed a lot of the time, and so it ended up being my project. And but
wow,
yeah. So
and then eventually you came over to the Princeton Health Center, or Princeton Health and Fitness is what it was at the time.
Yeah, Joseph and I had several months of conversation about how it was all going to play out, and at that point we needed more space, and
I think it was 20. Maybe it was before 2020, so maybe 2019.
We started talking.
Yeah, I approached Susan because I had just come on as manager of Princeton Fitness, and I wanted to start up a similar program, and so, not wanting to completely, create these huge tensions in the community, I thought, okay, someone's already doing this. Why don't I approach that business and see if they're interested in partnering before I do this thing by myself, and then, you know, we've now got 2 competing businesses. And I mean, Susan would have to tell you how they received that, but the short version is, you know, we did end up combining into one
and
business.
I think my initial, when we first talked, my initial was, but this is my baby. Like, I don't
Right.
want to, you know, and I worked really hard for this, and what is this going to look like? But it all came together really well. We ended up moving over to the Princeton Health and Fitness building in July of 2020, so kind of in the midst of COVID year, but
It turned out, actually, I think, to be a really good thing, because gym businesses, they had to shut down for
Right.
months. And even when we were open at some stage, you know, so the machines had to be at one point 12 feet apart.
Really?
And so I was there for a long time just moving all these machines. They weigh like 600-700 pounds. One by one on this big dolly, you know, I had to kind of lean them up, put the dolly underneath, you know. So one by one, I was there most nights, you know, ignoring my family, just trying to move all these machines. It was a lot of work went into that.
No kidding.
So it was actually a real pleasure to have somebody to kind of share the workload with when they finally came over, and I just got to relax a little bit more. It was
let's
really
let Susan
nice.
do it. No,
Yeah.
no, that's not how it played out.
Yeah. So basically, you combined Taekwondo and CrossFit
Yeah, for the first
with.
for the first year, we rented space for Taekwondo and CrossFit in the building, and then
Okay.
a little over a year after being there, we ended up buying out Princeton Fitness, and
And now it's
It
all
all-
under the same
yeah,
name, same banner, same management. So.
yeah. And I got to keep some pretty cool employees. I got Joseph and Sonia and Linda, and
It's because I'm here. She has to say that.
Yeah.
You're still
Behind
around,
closed doors. So talk about, you know, we'll start with CrossFit.
Okay.
Because when people think of CrossFit, I think most people think it's just crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just doing crazy things, and it's extreme. I think that's the vision some people have of CrossFit. And when you first talked to me about it, that's what you said. Forget those videos that you're seeing out there. This is what it really is. So kind of tell us about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I'm a CrossFit competitor. I do enjoy the competition side of it, but unfortunately, if you Google CrossFit, the first videos that come up on Google are competition videos, and usually in competition for CrossFit, things go to the extreme. They try a little more crazy things, and people look at that and like, I'm not in shape enough to do that, or I can't do those things, and really that's just a very small population of the CrossFitters actually compete, and really CrossFit is for anybody. It's adaptable to anybody wherever you are. I mean, we have, well, Kim, you know, you do CrossFit in the morning. We have several adaptive athletes. We've got a quadriplegic, Ricky, that does CrossFit pretty much every morning. We've got another lady who has one arm. I've got neuro problems. We've got a lot of things, and it's adaptable to anybody wherever they're at. You've got an injured knee, we can work around it. We've had recently one of our CrossFit coaches, she broke her foot, so we just treated her like she was a wheelchair athlete for a few weeks because she wasn't supposed to be up and around on that. It's adaptable to anybody, any age. There's a video somewhere of a 100-year-old doing CrossFit. So
Even within the same class.
Yes.
Like I teach noon classes, and in the same class I'll have people in their 70s and, you know, people down into their 20s, and they're doing a version of the same workout, so their stimulus is the same, but it doesn't look the same, because someone who's 20 and has been fit their entire life is not gonna be able to do some of the same things as someone 70 who has been out of it for 20 years. And so they do a variation of the same thing so that we can help them grow in the same way. But what's going to help one person grow is not going to be what helps another person grow. And so, yes, it's completely adaptable, but even within the same class, that same workout is adaptable for whoever's there.
It's kind of like yesterday it was pull-ups. And so I was doing ring rows. Several people were doing pull-ups with a band, like, their feet on a band to help. And others were doing actual pull-ups, but all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was difficult for every person. It was a workout for every person, no matter what level.
And what's funny about that, during our 5:15 class, there's several people up on the treadmills and they're watching us, and I've had to come to a point from where I RX'd most things, used to be able to do most of the movements.
RX means do it as it's prescribed and not scaled back.
And now, as my MS progresses, some of those things I can't do anymore. So I'm over there doing ring rows or one-arm ring rows or whatever versus pull-ups that I used to do. And somebody on the stage will comment later, I can't do those crazy things that you're doing. Like, I was watching you, and they don't even realize that everybody's kind of doing a different variation of a pull-up, and it just looks all...
Yeah, it's...
They don't realize the differences.
Right, and that it can be adapted.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And my favorite thing of all is that I don't think I've hardly, maybe a couple times in the 2.5 years, have I ever done one workout again, the same exact workout. I'm a person that just gets sick of, like if I'm going to go to a class, whatever kind of a class, I can't do it for too long because I get sick of it. But this is different every single day.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of CrossFit. It never gets boring. You don't get stuck in the same old routine every day. Just, you watch a lot of people come to the gym and they do the same thing day after day, and I don't know. I'm a squirrel. I need to do different things all the time. And so I think that's why I've stuck with it for well over a decade. It's just because it never gets boring.
Right.
And it's always challenging me. There's always another level, another layer to it that is going to challenge me.
Right.
Once I master something, there's always something harder.
So how many different classes do you have for CrossFit, or different programs, or...
Well, for CrossFit, we offer classes 6 days a week. Our earliest class is 5:15 in the morning. Then we have noon, 5:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m., Saturday mornings. But then we have all kinds of other programs. We have, see if I can remember all the classes and programs we have.
Yeah, this will be tough.
I'll just start at the studio and work my way.
Okay.
All right. We have a ballet school that meets at our gym. So if you're into ballet, kids or adults, Heart to Toe Studios. But we've got, let's see, Silver Sneakers, yoga, Silver Sneakers, strength and stability, Zumba, Pound.
GEM would be a studio one?
GEM.
Yeah.
GEM stands for Get Excited and Move, and that program was developed for people with Parkinson's or MS, neuro disorders. But really anybody, we get a wide variety of people in there.
Oh, yeah.
We've got several yoga options, kickboxing. What am I missing?
Jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, our master swim program, our splash classes in the pool, water aerobics, and water wave. Then we've got our ninja course.
What's the ninja course?
It's obstacles. So if you've ever seen American Ninja Warrior on TV, or even things like Spartan races now have obstacles in them. So they're running races, and then every so far you go, there's some kind of feat that you have to accomplish before you carry on. So obstacle course racing, last time I checked, was one of the fastest growing sports in the US. Not the fastest, I think that goes to pickleball or something. But, and I do love a pickleball. The obstacle course racing has started to integrate into other sports like running, and they've kind of amalgamated into these things like Rugged Maniacs and Spartan races. And it's just obstacles, It's a mixture of upper body strength, balance and coordination, jumping and speed, just a nice mixture of different skills that you can put together. And if you ever want to test yourself when it comes to obstacle course racing, go against a 12 to 14-year-old. My first ever obstacle race class, I turned up as a CrossFitter thinking, oh, I got this. There were, 4 kids, all about 12. And at that point, I was in my early 20s, like almost peak physical condition. Oh, they wiped the floor with me. They did, because they're so light and their grip strength is so good. And I didn't go back to that place.
That grip strength thing is real. That grip, I don't have it, basically.
Neither do I, not anymore.
And Joseph built our whole New Heights
I did.
obstacle course.
Oh, you did, yeah.
He built
And is
it
that
from
meant
scratch.
for kids or adults, or what? Tell us about that.
I built it with climbing grade material so that, adults could use it safely. We predominantly see kids use it the most, and that is because of the grip strength thing. Adults struggle more because their grip strength doesn't increase as the size and weight increases. So kids just have an affinity that adults don't for obstacle course racing and ninja. Having said that, it's great fun if you can do it.
You can hang on.
Yeah.
So is it mainly grip strength? Is that the primary piece of it, where you're monkey bar type of thing?
So all the hanging ones, yes, it would be a grip strength limiting. But then there are things like the warped wall, which most people see from TV, where you just have to run up this curved wall, get to the top. That doesn't involve grip strength. It's a lot of speed. But also things like
balance.
Balance, coordination. So going from one thing to another, can you get your hand in the right place, or you end up falling onto our nice soft cushy mats, So a few different
So you're not
elements.
going to fall into like sludge or anything like that on this one?
Not at Beyond Sport.
Okay.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Because then you guys also have like a daycare center too for kids.
We do have daycare. We offer daycare Monday through Thursday evenings from 5 to 7. So if parents want to come in and work out, we keep one childcare worker in the smaller area that's meant for 0 to 5-year-olds, and then we keep another worker working in the ninja course so that some of the older kids have something to do and they're not running over the littles.
Yeah. I don't think you mentioned, maybe you did, about the class where you can come in and on the iPad you can plug in your own class.
Oh, Fitness on Demand.
Fitness on Demand.
That
There we go.
happens back in the studio. We added that, 2 years ago? Anyway, there's about 500 class offerings on there. There's a kiosk on the wall, and you scroll through, find the class you want, hit the class, and it pops up on the TV screen in the studio, and we have most of the equipment that is needed for those classes. So if you are a person who likes to work out and have somebody tell you what to do, but maybe the group class thing isn't for you,
Or maybe
actually-
the time doesn't work out
Yeah,
for you,
that too.
and
Yeah.
that you just are looking for something different. There's, like you said, 500 options. So,
We can also access that from home. So the system that we have, you can access from home. And there's a link to it on the website. There's a small cost. It's not as much as the gym membership, but then you wouldn't even have to come into the gym to access those on-demand classes. Obviously, they're different from what a CrossFit class would be. You wouldn't be throwing around a barbell at
Right.
home,
Right.
unless you've
Got
got the
Yeah,
space. I mean,
right.
maybe.
Yeah, some people have a pretty nice homes gym.
yeah.
Yes, I do. It cost a pretty penny, but it's worth it when you got to get home to see the kids. You've got to neglect your workouts. So yeah, I did put one in at home. But
Yeah. Did we cover all our? Oh, we have. Besides the classes I've already mentioned, we have strongman, and gosh, what did I? Oh, and we've got lots of weightlifting classes. Some Justin will probably talk about those later.
Yeah, I do
Yes.
have questions about weightlifting too, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed too is at your guys' gym, there is a large variety of different like equipment and different workouts that you can do. And I find that really useful too, is like I've been to other gyms where it's just the same old stuff, the treadmills and your free weights and just, I don't know. I feel like you guys have everything there, from whether it be from stretching to CrossFit exercises or the bars, or there's just everything that you need for any kind of workout. I feel
A lot
like.
of it goes hand in hand.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're doing strongman or Olympic lifting or something like that, you're using huge ranges of motion. And so keeping your joints healthy is really important. And so you can't have an effective lifter sometimes unless you also have that flexibility component. So it's not like we are putting separate things in the gym. So, you know, this person can do this and someone else can do something else. They're actually all integrated. And I find that, you know, our best athletes, everyday athletes, if you like, are people who utilize the different areas.
So that kind of leads me to a question about somebody that walks into the gym for the first time. And, you know, you talk about all the equipment that you see there and everything, and that could be intimidating, you know, to see all this, and I don't even know what to do or where to begin. And I'm sure, especially this time of year, New Year's resolutions, you probably get a lot of people maybe like that this time of year, or maybe haven't stepped into gym in a long time. Because you mentioned sort of for CrossFit that some people feel like they have to get in shape to go to the class, and some may feel that way about the gym. Like, I have to get in shape to even step into a gym. You know, it's just so intimidating. You think about you know, with people lifting and grunting, and it just, so how do you guys help people with that?
Look at the people. Don't look at the equipment. Look at the people. You'll see 90-year-old Gwyneth, I'm making up the names, and you'll see 25-year-old John, and you'll see bigs, you'll see small, you'll see experienced, you'll see new. So if you're looking at all the different types of equipment and you don't know what any of them do, number one, most of our staff are personal trainers or class instructors of some kind, that you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. But if the equipment is too much, just look at the people there. The chances are, if you know, spend 2 minutes looking, you'll find somebody who's ahead of you, someone who's exactly where you're at. And then it suddenly becomes less intimidating, because you're not going through it by yourself anymore. You're going through it at the same pace as Johnny over there, or, you know, whoever. And I mean, even some of our instructors, they've got really cool stories to tell. Some of our staff members who aren't instructors have really cool stories to tell. So,
and I would suggest too, like, for anyone that is new to the gym, like joining a group or a class or something to get involved and kind of get an understanding, instead of going into the gym and just like, saw this video on Instagram and gonna start lifting some weight. I don't know what I'm doing, but gotta act like I know. But
no, that is a good suggestion. It helps either, you know, joining a class for even just a few times, or meeting with a personal trainer or something, just to kind of get you going. But usually people at Beyond Sport, after they've visited a few times and kind of gotten their routine, I get a lot of people that say, or refer to us and the gym members as their family. And we really kind of do, I feel, have a nice family feel, and everybody, oh, where's that lady that always is walking on the treadmill? I haven't seen her lately. People start looking for you if you're not there, and I don't know, people just start talking of all ages. It's just really kind of,
that is
cool.
100% true.
Yeah.
In fact, I attend the 5:15 a.m. class, and it was getting to be where, it was just so painful to get up that early, and I thought I wasn't sleeping well, and I thought maybe I should go to a different time of day, and then I thought of the people, and I'm like, no, I can't leave my people. That class, they're my people, you know, so I kind of messaged all my people and said, I need help I got to get back on track here, you know, and everybody was just, yep, let's do this. Susan said, you know, let's be accountable on nutrition. And Roberta said, you know, why don't you start coming 2 or 3 times and, you know, work up to it. Don't, you know, so now I can still walk, barely, but quite sore. But yeah, I mean.
Little backstory on that. She just started over this week.
Yeah, starting over. Yeah.
This isn't an ongoing thing.
No. And so it's the people. I mean, it's really, like you said, it is like a family.
Yeah, and you know, you miss people that you see every day.
Yeah.
Like, boy, I haven't seen them for a few weeks. What's going on? And you start hearing, oh, they've been sick or they're out of town visiting family or whatever. So I think everybody kind of genuinely cares about each other, and it really has become a nice family.
I agree. And you and Glenn will often threaten intervention. If there's not a good reason for not being there. Do we need to do an intervention? Do we need to visit you at your
Someday
place of
we're
business?
going to get a van and
The intervention van.
Drive around town and pick these people up.
Yep. So it's very cool.
Yeah.
With the new year, do you guys get an influx of new people?
Yeah.
I want to say it starts actually in December for us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And really I would say the last week of December this year was really a big influx.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to be ready, and it was like they wanted to get a head start on the new year. And I feel like this year people have been a little more serious about their resolutions. I've seen some people just, sticking around longer.
Yep.
There's some people that started New Year's resolution every year, and they last a couple weeks, and then you don't see them again till the next year. And I think in the back of my mind, I'll see them for a couple weeks, and then I won't see them again till next year. But people are sticking to it this year. I don't know what's different this year, but it's
awesome.
really nice.
I learned this year about National Quitters Day. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
Second Friday of the year. Now, I've been a personal trainer for more than 15 years. I'd never heard of this. This must be an American thing. But the second Friday of the year, statistically, is the day you are most likely to quit your resolution. Presumably because you can grind it out for a week, and then the first weekend you're still on it, but then the second weekend comes and that motivation is down a little bit. But that's been and gone, and like Susan said, we really haven't seen a big drop off, which we might have on other years.
Yeah.
So.
And I would say when we were just CrossFit and Taekwondo, we wouldn't get the New Year's resolution people, because CrossFit tends to be a more expensive program, and everybody wants to jump on board with a cheap gym membership, and they're going to hold themselves accountable, and then they drop off second week of January. And then we used to see an influx in like March when we were just CrossFit. Then people were like, okay, I wasn't doing very good on my own. I need the accountability.
Yeah.
And then they would come see us at the CrossFit gym. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the accountability piece is, I think, huge. I mean, I don't, it probably doesn't work for everybody, I'm not sure, but I think it works for many. Being accountable to another person or to a goal or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
I
everybody
think is
needs
huge.
some kind of accountability.
Yes.
And the most obvious one is being accountable to somebody else, which is why personal trainers have their value. And I'm sure when you talk to Justin about that later, he'll know.
Yeah.
He'll know. He'll have some stories. But everybody has accountability to something, even if it's not a person, whether it's themselves, the life that they want, the particular movement or task that they want to be easier. Some people just want to be able to carry something or go up the stairs. As long as they're accountable to something, they'll stick around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's something important even to mention, that with weightlifting, I think a lot of people think about it as bulking up and getting huge, and maybe even, especially for women, might be afraid of it. But that is such a good thing about as you age, so that you can get up off the floor, that you can go up and down stairs, that if you fall, you can get back up. That some kind of weight training that helps as you age, and it's not about getting huge and getting gigantic muscles. And for some, it might be a goal, to have big muscles, and for others, though, it's a way just to age in a healthy way.
yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Should we cut to a quick break?
Yeah, let's go do a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk personal training.
Perfect.
All right.
When's the fishing tournament?
It's going to be February 25th of this year, so a Sunday. So we've got a $10,000 cash raffle that we sell tickets for now. We'll be selling them up until the fishing contest. We do draw for those prizes. That $10,000 in cash, it's not one winner, it's actually 51 winners. There are 3 $1,000 winners, 4 $500 winners, 4 $250 winners, and 41 $100 winners. Your raffle ticket is also a ticket for the fishing contest. They're $10 a piece, and it's a super deal. We do have several other raffles that we're going to be doing the day of the contest. It'll be on ice only. We got a Garmin Panoptics Redneck Trophy 5x5 hunting blind that we're going to have. Mossberg 100th anniversary shotgun. We got an Otter Fish House, a Vexlar FLX 30, and a Strike Master 40 volt auger. So tickets, where do we get them? Yeah. First of all, they're $10 a piece. The raffle and the fishing contest are both in one ticket. We could get them. We've got a pre-sale set up right now. We've got at Barb's True Value, Tails and Trails in Zimmerman, Prince Bait up in Malacca, and Gary's Barbershop in Princeton. Those guys all have tickets full-time. So if you want tickets at any time, you can stop in at those locations. If you're getting bait, you can pick stuff up. Or Marv's have got bait, so you can pick up a ticket anytime there. The Lions have sites that we sell tickets at on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. For the most part, that's Princeton Wine and Spirits and Coburn's. We are going to do one weekend or 2 weekends, February 9th and 10th and 16th and 17th, where we're going to try to do a major focus. We're going to have 4 sites those nights. We're going to have Princeton Wine and Spirits, Coburn's, Old Log Liquor, EC Corner. We're going to man Lions at those sites from 3 to 6 o'clock on Friday evenings and from 9 till noon on Saturday mornings. Spots where you can run out and get your tickets right then and there if you want to. And they're also available the day of the contest out on the ice.
Justin, right?
That's me.
You trained at the academy in Elk River for a while, didn't you?
For a time.
Yeah.
You're also part of my fitness story. I don't know if this will be in the episode. I have a memory of being at youth group with you.
Yeah.
And we had a hold a weight in front of you challenge.
Yeah.
And I remember you were talking a little smack to me back in the day in middle school, and that stuck with me.
Well, maybe that's probably why you didn't get to go to Deep Portage.
No, I just remember, it's one of those things that was like, I remember my shoulders were burning, and you're like, you're gonna drop it, and I was like, nah.
Are you sure that was me?
No, it was you. I'm almost positive it was you.
And then you guys wrestled together?
You were on the wrestling team. You were in high school. I think I was in middle school. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was still new. You'd toss me around, right?
Not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go back a little ways, but
Yeah.
not super close friends. But I've always seen you around. I've known you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because the last time, besides in the gym and stuff, was at the academy in Elk River, and I just remember like, oh my gosh, dude, I haven't seen you in so long. And
Yeah, man.
then we were training there for a little bit. We were, I think, just doing some training, some drills or something, and I remember holding pads for you, I believe, once, and
You went flying across the
oh
hall
my
room.
gosh, yeah, it's like this dude can strike.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you still go to the academy?
Unfortunately not. I kind of went away from that when I started going to college. Got more into the strength training thing. Sorry, bumped the table. Got more into the strength training, pursued that more. Getting back into it a little more, volunteering with the wrestling team a little bit, but the personal training thing is going really well. So I've kind of had to step away from the wrestling a little more, simply because afternoons right after work, which is when wrestling practice is also when people like to come to the gym and work out. So
Right.
kind of a little bit of a conflict, but a good conflict. So getting busy.
You know, you're talking about that plate challenge at youth group. When we were in school and we would lean back on our chairs, did you guys have this too?
Crack it back.
Yeah, well, if we leaned back on our chairs, we'd have to hold them. That was the punishment. You know, they'd never allow that anymore. But that, yeah,
really?
you know, that's what that reminds me
Yeah.
of when you say that. This actually hurts right now. But that was from the ring rails yesterday, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, So, yeah, that was the punishment. We had to hold a chair out in front of us, and then so you'd never lean back on your chair again.
Wow.
I mean, is that really bad for chairs?
Probably not.
I mean,
They just don't want you bouncing your head off
yeah.
the tile floor.
Yeah, that's probably
Right.
right. Yeah.
Liability.
Yeah.
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 So, what's it like being a personal trainer?
It's an interesting question. It's fun. Definitely one of the most rewarding jobs I've had. I've done a little bit of construction, scooped ice cream here at Santa Lucia's for a little while, but by far enjoyed training the most. It's So a little bit about my story. I was considering potentially going to school for medicine. I've always thought biology and science and the human body super interesting. And during kind of my gap year between finishing college, I had my 2-year at the time. I was still kind of waffling, like, do I want to do fitness? Do I want to do medicine? Because I love the gym, but like financially, medicine is kind of where people go when they like biology and all that fun stuff. But I decided it's probably better for me to try to keep people out of the hospital is kind of the way I thought about it. So decided to go to school for the fitness route, went for exercise science, and that's how I wound up in the training.
Preventive medicine is what they call it.
Preventative,
Excellent.
absolutely. So that's how I wound up in training. Through the sciencey stuff, I like the biology. However, the thing that took a while for me to develop in the training world was definitely the talking people through their goals, why they have their goals, why did you pick that goal? Is it within a certain time frame? Like, yeah, you want to lose 20 pounds. Does it need to be next month? Like, there's people who are like, I got to lose this weight, stuff like that. So the quote unquote soft skills of training, being able to talk to somebody, calm them down about a certain goal. A lot of the times, like there's always this level of, I have this goal, I got to do this, I have a time frame, bringing them down kind of off that ledge, being like, why do you have that goal? Why is it within that time frame? Being more specific, more measurable with your goals is definitely one of those skills that I've had to develop as far as like that communication aspect.
I'm so glad you mentioned soft skills. They are way more important than what you learn at university. Like, I feel like people's success probably more than, and this is not coming from literature, this is just from my experience. If people's expectations are closer to reality, they are more likely to succeed. And I've seen a lot of expectations that are way off what I would consider realistic. And so when Justin is talking about these soft skills, if your personal trainer is not talking to you about what you want and why you want it, they're probably doing you a disservice. And developing those skills, it's going to be great for you. It's also going to be great for the people he works with. Right?
So it's basically someone comes to you and you kind of sit down and chat about what your goals are, and then you can come back and say, great goals, let's try to chip away at these in a more realistic way. I mean, I know there's probably a different way to say it, but you kind of try to reel people back in sometimes, would you say?
Usually people know. So people know what they need to do. They have a sense of what's real. You just have to ask them the question so that they tell themselves most of the time. I feel like that's 90% of what I do when I talk to people, is just get them to give themselves the right answer. But for some people, they need to talk it through with somebody in order for them to go through the right process. Agreed?
Yeah, 100%.
Why would someone use a personal trainer?
Right. So just to kind of build on what I was saying, a personal trainer should really be more of a resource, is how I would explain how to use a trainer, or how I would utilize myself if I hired a trainer. And I have worked with a coach. I'm not currently working with a coach at the moment. Sorry, got a little off track there. So rephrase the question. Could you ask it again?
So
Sorry.
basically, why would you use a personal trainer?
Right. So basically what you want to use a trainer for is to like a filter for your questions. So when I'm talking to a trainer, I might ask them, how do I get strong, right? They're the sort of person who is going to do that research, dig into that for you, and find the best answer for you and your body and what you're going through in your lifestyle. A good trainer should have a dialogue with you, not a monologue. They shouldn't talk at you. They should be asking questions and bouncing stuff off of you. You shouldn't just always be bouncing stuff off of them. So like, I want to get strong. Okay. How often are you able to work out every week? Oh, I only have 2 days I can go to the gym. Okay, that changes what I'm going to tell you versus the kid who can come in 5 days a week and he can eat 5 meals a day because he's got the time for it. He's going to have a different workout plan, right? For somebody who can only come 2 days a week, they might do a full body routine on both days. That kid who's coming in, he might be doing upper one day, lower another day. Basically, you're asking me questions, and I'm taking all of my knowledge and experience, and I'm answering that question for you with what I've found. I'm saving you the time and effort of doing all the research yourself and writing it yourself.
So are you working out with a person too? I mean, that's what I visualize as a personal trainer.
No.
It's all about a resource.
It's all you, man. Keep pushing.
That's what I picture.
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
So some people have that picture in their head, kind of like working out with you, and like they're benching twice what you're benching next to you, and they're like, "Come on, man!" Like there is that idea. Some people have the picture of the guy wearing the polo and the black slacks, and he's just kind of standing there counting to 10.
With a clipboard.
Right, with a clipboard, 100%. Fun fact, the clipboard was a really big deal at my previous job. You had to have a clipboard. Anywho. In reality, your trainer might be dressed in the polo with the clipboard, whatever, but they should be talking to you the whole time. So like talking about your day, all that fun stuff, because it gets you in the gym. You're getting that accountability partner, right? So you're talking to the trainer. You also have a little bit of financial skin in the game, right? Instead of just like, oh, I have a gym membership, I'll go, versus you have an appointment with your trainer. You're gonna go.
Right.
You're gonna go to the gym with that.
Accountability on that too.
100%. Yeah. So a session with a trainer will generally, you'll come in, kind of, how's your day going? Whatever. You'll have your workout ready for you, or some sort of plan if there's not a specific workout. Trainer will talk to you, take you through your workout, and usually through the warm-up, they'll be talking to you, being like, how's that going? How's that feeling? Asking you questions. At least that's what I do. What I'm looking for during the warm-up is I'm asking stuff like, how are you feeling from the previous workout? What's sore? Any aches and pains? Did you sleep well last night? Stuff like that might cause me to shift something in the workout. Like, we're in a slightly more rural area. I might ask people questions like, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I split a bunch of wood, right? My previous job, I was in the cities. We didn't have that issue. I'm not going to wind up cutting people's workouts a little shorter because they had a strenuous thing they did this weekend. So the trainer should be teaching you how to regulate your body, should be teaching you how to pull back a little bit, or when to push, kind of teaching you, not telling you when and how to do these things. A good trainer should really be trying to educate you, or educate himself out of a job, really. If you work with a trainer long enough, you should hopefully, after a few months, feel empowered enough to fire the trainer. It's the sort of thing that after a few months, you should feel empowered enough that you could train on your own, but if you like the feedback and you like having the form coaching and you like the assistance, stick with the trainer, and ask them questions, use them as a resource.
Even like getting to like a new goal. So like if you accomplish it, because like my first thing was I was injured and I wanted to get back in the gym. And like my first thing was I wanted a trainer right away because I was like, I don't know how to deal with this injury and get back to where I was at. So I was like, instead of not wasting, but it would have took me months or how many times to like trial and error before I would have got the result right. Whereas I just hired a personal trainer, like, hey, this is the best way to get you back to what we were doing. And then once that was accomplished, it was like, okay, great. Same thing like you were saying, like maybe you don't need the trainer anymore, but also on the other side of it is like if you have another goal, like now then the next thing was like, okay, now that I'm back to where I was at, I want to get to this point now, and just kind of use them as your guide and your coach, and like obviously like coach to get to your next spot and save you time. And because we all only have so much time, so it's like when you go to the gym, if you don't know how to get there from A to B the most effectively, I feel like a coach or a program or something or accountability is going to get you there the fastest. Because I mean, what why are you going to the gym in the first place? Like, to stay healthy? Are you have a goal in mind? Are
If you
in a
can't answer that
competition?
question, you're not going to be at the gym for very long.
Right. Yeah. Like
And
when you have to wake up early and stay accountable and make meals and make sure you get your rest. Like you got to have a
Right.
why in what you're doing, and almost anything really, when
Yeah.
work and personal life, and when it comes to the gym as well.
And one thing I'll say is like sometimes I've talked to people for like an initial consult when I still worked in the cities. They're told like you get this initial consult with a trainer. And sometimes people will come in and they're like, oh, my doctor says I need to be at the gym, right? So for somebody like that who's like, I don't really feel like I need to go to the gym, I'm in my 30s, I feel fine, something like that, I'd say to those people, try to find something that you like to do in the gym. I know we're talking a lot about like whys and goals and stuff like that, but adding in that habit of health into your life is super, super beneficial. It'll bring everything else up with it. Rising tide brings all ships, raises all ships. So
Along with the physical side too, your mental state as going to the gym and stress relief and taking your mind off your daily projects or what work was or what's going on at home. Like I feel like it's at least a lot of my friends and people that I know that go to the gym, a lot of it's not so much just to gain muscle or do as many pull-ups. It's more about just getting that headspace right and getting mentally back
That's
in the
huge.
game. And
Life. So, business. I think there are so many parallels between fitness and business. So if you are not used to staring adversity in the face, get to the gym. Because at the gym, you will do difficult things and you will learn to overcome them. It's like training any muscle. If you do something that scares you a little bit, and then it'll make it easier for you to do something that scares you a little bit more. And if you are not used to having things to push past, start with something small. Best, safest place to do that is in a gym. And so I feel like if you want to become good at overcoming adversity, practice it, train it, and then grow it like a muscle. And I feel like the gym is a great place to do that. And the personal trainer is the best resource to put something in front of you
you're good.
that is not going to send you screaming, but is enough to challenge you, to grow you to the next stage.
Absolutely.
Unless it's a box jump.
Well, even then, I mean,
you can start
on a plate.
Yep, start on a plate.
You've seen that video, right? On that viral video, it's like this little girl. She's trying to jump up on the box. She can't do it. She can't do it. She can't do it. She finally gets it.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
It's adversity.
Yep, exactly.
Working at a gym or being a personal trainer, there's a lot of encounters with people, and I'm assuming you have some good stories or, is there anything that comes to mind that you think would be kind of funny or you've been waiting to share?
Have you
Right.
seen anyone go flying off a treadmill that you watched over and over on video?
I have. Yes, specifically that example, yes. Not because there's anything wrong with the treadmill. I'd like to point that out. In this example, there was this was, I don't even know who it was. I couldn't name the person. It was a few years ago now. But the treadmill was moving. And you know how when you're trying to watch a TV on the treadmill, you hold on? Well, this person was taking off a shirt
Oh, no.
like this, not holding on to the treadmill. And of course, when you can't see or it gets stuck and you're trying to wiggle this sweatshirt off, your feet don't stay in a straight line. And I couldn't help but think, like, that's the last thing I would do. Like,
So did you see it actually happen, or did you see it afterwards?
one of our staff members was there within 2 seconds because she was in the room when it happened. I was watching it on camera. I think somebody was in for a tour of the facility. So please come and work here. Come and work out here. This is what happens. But yes, we were there very quickly. The lady was absolutely fine. It was a lapse in judgment. Is all it was.
Is this when you had all the treadmills in the room?
Yes.
Yes, because I saw a video not at your facility, but it was just a video that I saw. But it made me think of when you had that set up there, because the person on the front treadmill did something very similar, flew off the back, took out the person in the running on the treadmill behind them because they flew onto the treadmill behind
way.
them and took that person out too.
Shotgun them across the
Yeah,
room.
basically. Yeah.
I've heard a story about somebody dancing on a treadmill and flying off.
Yeah,
I
uh-huh.
didn't. That
Yeah.
was before our time over there, but
Yes.
Oh,
Dances too.
There was this gentleman, not at this gym, at the gym I worked at before. I think it was the same gym that Justin used to work for as well. And he had amazing dance moves, and he was like the embodiment of joy. Every time he came to the gym, he was happy and he was boogieing, and he could do that thing where you turn around and start walking backwards on the treadmill, and then you go in sideways.
Wow.
And I never saw him fall off. Like, he had
Interesting.
moves.
But he also never took his shirt off.
Correct. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, he obviously enjoyed and practiced what he did.
There was a guy who would sing on the treadmill at the gym that I was at. He was just doing his own thing. He just had his earbuds in and he would sing very poorly.
And loudly?
Very quite loudly. Yeah. Yeah. He was just having a good time. Good for him, man. Yeah.
So what's the most you've seen someone lift? It's you?
No. At Wisconsin's Strongest competition last year, I saw a couple people trap bar deadlift over, I think, 500 kilos, which is 1,100 pounds. So from the knees.
That's crazy.
So there's some strong people out
That
there for
is
sure.
I think-
unreal.
At our gym, I think we've seen one strongman competitor lift above 700 on a deadlift.
Eric did a little over 700 pounds on
Yeah.
a deadlift.
Powerlifting,
Wow.
one of the
Yeah.
powerlifting teens did 700 something.
On a deadlift. Is that the main?
That's your strongest
Yeah,
lift.
that's your strongest lift, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
What do you think
So
the strongest lift is?
I do lots of awkward lifts. So I do strongman. I compete in strongman, which has awkward objects and stones and kegs and all that fun
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So one of the heaviest things people have ever done is either like a yoke walk or like a hip lift, and those are absurd. Like I've seen people do a couple. I think the record for the hip lift is close to a ton. Just absurd weights, but they're not lifting them very far.
So is
The
it
range
lifting,
of
just
motion.
lifting something off the ground?
Yeah, you essentially have this belt or strap around your waist,
Uh-huh.
and you just barely stand it up off the ground, like a couple inches, but it's
Oh.
absurd amount of weight. Just old school, like circus strongman
Yes.
feats of strength.
And I've seen where on some competitions where they're lifting a heavy ball
Yeah.
or something over a little wall
Right.
to the other side.
Yeah, so that's
And
my
then-
sport. That's
That's
the
your sport,
That's the
okay.
sport I compete in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's strongman.
That's strongman, okay.
Yeah, so the awkward objects, that stuff, that's, I guess you could call it more of a functional strength. All strength is functional, but it's going to be more like objects you would see in real life. Like you see on ESPN, the world's strongest man, they pick up the concrete spheres and they have the weird log thing they push overhead, that stuff. So that's the Saturday strongman class that Susan had mentioned. So
So you're lifting odd things in that class? I mean, I've seen how the kegs
we got the kegs
show
in the
up.
back, yeah,
Uh-huh.
we got logs, all
Yeah.
kinds of fun stuff.
You know what would be kind of a fun video is if you had like a a video of someone that trained in strongman for like yourself, and then you just went through like a normal office setting and like
Right.
lifted like the
Lifted.
craziest
Right.
stuff and
Just
just
pick up like a cabinet.
yeah, like oh I got
moving
you,
a desk.
yeah I
Right.
got you, hold still. Like,
Yeah,
oh you're tired, I
Absolutely.
can bring you to over here.
yeah,
Like,
functional lifting.
Yeah. Right.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be
That
a
would
really
be
fun
hilarious.
That'd be funny.
That would be great.
video. Speaking of people like singing or making weird noises at the gym, where do you think you see it the most? Like in weightlifting or like you said, treadmill?
Like the
Tennis.
grunting or
Tennis.
what?
Yeah, like you said,
Tennis.
like I feel like when I get pretty vocal. I feel like when I'm struggling and just like lifting weight, like, and I don't realize it either because I'll have headphones on. I usually have my music
Gotcha.
loud,
Okay.
but like,
I feel like there are different mannerisms in different areas.
yeah,
Like if you're in a CrossFit area and you're chalked up hands, butt slaps, pretty normal.
Yeah.
But if you went up to somebody on a treadmill and did that, you get arrested. So,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Go
off.
ahead.
I had a personal, I had like a client, or I should say a friend of mine who I used to work with on the personal training team went out of town, and I was subbing for one of her clients. And this person will never see this, but they made some very uncomfortable sounds during lifts. And it's in a personal training setting when someone is a grunter and you have to be watching them the entire time they're working out, it's a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
Have you laughed out loud?
So that's one of those soft skills that you learn, like that bedside manner. I call it gym floor manner. Sometimes people say some stuff and you're just like, yeah.
We have that gal that hilarious, and
Right.
somebody, like, if they don't see her for a while, they'll ask her who she is, but they can't remember her name, so they refer to her as, the one that sounds like she's giving birth. when she
Yes.
lifts.
Oh my.
Oh, yeah.
I think I know who that is.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
You do.
Yeah, and that's, I think, part of my appeal of the 5:15 class, because everyone's so tired.
Mhm.
You don't really hear a lot of that. It's, and then, but
Right.
I've gone to the 5:30 or 6 o'clock class, and it's way more
Yeah. and
aggressive, I guess.
I
would call
want
it.
to make it known that we're kind of picking on these personalities, but I'm sure I am somebody's kind of like, oh, look at that guy, he's doing that weird thing in the corner again, right? So
But-
everybody's got something
Yeah.
that they do.
100%.
But when you're
So we're
struggling,
not picking on anyone,
Whoops.
but
Yeah.
we all have our thing.
Yeah,
So
I like 100%. I'm the first one to
Yeah.
announce that I totally am like a grunter or
Well,
something.
sometimes that's what you need to get the lift.
Yeah, and I
It's the last little thing you
like
need.
Brittany, my wife. She's like, Zach, you need to like calm it back a little bit when you're lit. I'm like, I can't. Like that's just I can't do my workout then.
That's right.
I just people can think of me as a
Yeah.
weird person.
So
or
it's not a judgment thing. It's just
No.
us having fun.
Yeah.
Like I know people have this idea of the gym that it's like, oh, gym bros. Like you guys
Right.
were kind of mentioning that
Yes.
before. So come as you are with all your personalities. We love you as you.
Yeah.
As
That's
you are.
right.
We'll laugh. You can laugh at us. It's a
Yep.
good time.
And that and the gym really is like that. Just
Oh,
like
yeah.
you said, just come as you are and do your thing.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. One last question about personal training. At Beyond Sport, do you guys would you say your personal trainers specialize in certain things? Like if you want to get strong, it's Justin. If you're thinking more of like a nutrition goal, it's someone else. Is it, or,
Well, nutrition is one of those funny areas because it's regulated
Yeah.
a lot more closely. So you, as a personal trainer, have certain limits depending on your education and qualifications. At bare minimum, a personal trainer can give you advice, but may not be able to give you like a meal plan.
Yeah.
So they can say, eat more protein foods. These foods have protein, but they cannot say, here's your meals for the week. It's got this and this in it. Whereas someone with a dietetics degree would have no problem
Right.
doing something like that. As for strengths, I mean that we all have different experiences. So I guess you could say they are more in line with your strengths. But
Right.
over certainly my experience as a personal trainer, I've worked with people with all different kinds of goals, and that's actually how we learn as well. And so I am not a strongman competitor, never will be. And so if you wanted to learn that stuff, go to someone who's got the experience in
Right.
that. But you don't necessarily need the experience yourself. You need to have coached somebody through it to get that experience. So if I had coached strongmen, which I have not, then I would say, yes, please come to me. But I have not. So in this case, I would say, go to Justin. And so there are a few nuances when it comes to who I would pick as a trainer.
Right.
Having said that, most people have the same kind of 3 goals. I want to say like 80% of people have the same 3 general goals. And you'd struggle to find a trainer who has not got experience in those 3 things.
Right.
What do you want to add?
Yeah, I mean that's most trainers can help you get started on a path to something. Personal training, I think, is kind of a general bubble, and then within that, there's different levels of coaching. So, training is just you working with that person, whoever you're working with. If I had to label myself and put myself in a box, I'd probably say I'm more in that strength physical performance in lifting something aspect. Like if you want to run a marathon, that's not something that I would be like, I'm super comfortable doing that, because that's not something I've coached before. I can help you improve your cardio, work on your mile time, stuff like that. But if I had to put a stamp on myself, I'd say strength, building muscle, looking better, feeling better. Those are kind of the classic personal trainer things, and I have a bunch of experience doing stuff with that. I'd also say that that strongman functional stuff, as Susan was mentioning in the CrossFit class, can be scaled down to wherever you're at. And I'd argue that strength training and the awkward object functional training type stuff is actually really great for people who live a normal life, right? Just be strong, be able to carry all your groceries in one load instead of two, right? Stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Yeah.
Safe time.
So before
Make
we
one
wrap
trip.
up here, I know we're getting to the end of our time here, but just one real quick story. I don't know if Jay is still at the gym or not, but he
is.
As a personal trainer. I just remember one time after working out, he was behind the desk and he was eating, he was holding a big stock of broccoli. You know how you buy the broccoli?
Yeah, that's Jay.
In the big, and just standing there, just like eating this, not cut
never
up.
seen me do that.
And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Food is energy, and I need the energy."
Oh man,
And he just ate.
I could not disagree more.
Oh, it was the worst.
Food is one of my life's pleasures, and I'm not a particularly big guy, but I've gone through a few ups and downs. Having kids was one of them. I can't really say that's, I didn't do much of the work, and my wife obviously did most of that. But oh man, food is one of my life's pleasures. And I could not get a raw broccoli and eat it and say I'm enjoying this.
No way.
I just couldn't. Could I do it if I were, training for something that I had to be super strict for? Yeah, maybe. Would I enjoy it? No. Do I want to enjoy it? Of course I do.
I watched him eat a bag of raw spinach one time. That's
just
just
because
Jay.
Jay,
No, that's just
that's
Jay.
how he views food.
Yeah.
It's purely energy, and you need it
My dad's
to live.
the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
If
like,
only.
I'll just eat it because it's fuel and
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
There's supposed to be some genetic predisposition between I like salty snacks and I like sweet snacks. He's a salty guy, and I think that's part of the reason why he can just eat vegetables and put a bunch of salt on fruit and be good. By the way, putting salt on fruit's weird.
Yeah.
It is not. It brings out the sweetness.
I
Put it on my grapefruit.
I know.
I used to work with a guy, and he was pretty hardcore. He was an Army Ranger, and he had just done all this stuff, and he had trained he was a hardcore dude. But we would lift together, and after we were done, his meal, I would make my rice or my chicken or my whatever meal and beef, and he would come with every single day. His meals did not change, and this is what it was: 2 chicken breasts, completely just plain, nothing on them, a loaf of bread from Quick Trip, and a gallon of milk. And he would
Eat the whole loaf?
the whole loaf, the whole gallon of milk, and 2 chicken breasts.
Losing weight
every
doesn't
day.
have to be gross. You can eat good food and lose weight.
But I'm like, dude, why? There's so many other ways you could enjoy your food.
Yes.
And but he's like, nope, this is it.
Wow.
So if you have a goal and you enjoy your food, come and speak to us, because you know that we like our food
That's
too.
right. Yes.
Right.
That's a great way to end it too, because food is good.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. So, well, thank you guys. Thank all of you for being here
you're
today and
welcome.
taking some time out of your obviously very busy schedule to be here and talk to us today. So until next time, this is Kim and Zach. Mary's up north in the cold. Signing off for This is Princeton. Stay here, play here.
Thank you, guys.
Podcast produced by Kitzman Creations. Music by Charles Moe. Be sure to subscribe to the Princeton Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Also, to view our awkward moments, check us out on our YouTube channel and visit us at www.thisisprincetonmn.co.